once you see it done wrong, you can't stop seeing it everywhere. Email consent is often not done correctly. In fact, just a few days ago, I was checking out a very popular e-commerce website when I ran across this little blurb that told me I had to opt out of a marketing newsletter rather than opt in. Now, not only does this violate best practices when it comes to email, but it may be illegal and it could cause you huge deliverability problems. So let's talk about email consent. What is it, how to obtain it, and why it matters. You ready? Let's go. So first of all, what does not count as email consent? Well, it doesn't count as email consent to simply add something in your terms of service that says you're willing to accept marketing email newsletters. Now, in addition to that, you also cannot use a pre-checked checkbox. It needs to be unchecked by default. Finally, what I ran into, assuming somebody has opted in just because they made a purchase or some kind of transaction on your site. Email consent applies globally, not just in the EU. So even if the emails you send are legal in your country, violating email consent could mean that you end up being blocked or filtered to the spam folder. So what does count as email consent? Well, there's 4 things to keep in mind. First, it should be freely given, without pressure, bundling, or tricks. Secondly, it should be specific. That is, it clearly defines what type of message the user will receive. Third, it needs to be informed. The user needs to know who you are and how you'll use their data. And finally, it needs to be clear. That is, it requires an active opt-in, like checking a box. Why does all this matter? Failing to obtain proper consent can lead to a host of deliverability issues that are hard to recover from. Mailbox providers like Gmail and Outlook closely monitor whether people mark your emails as spam. High complaint rates or low overall engagement rates can signal to mailbox providers that your messages weren't wanted. This can hurt your reputation and lead to filtering, blocking, or deliverability issues. On top of that, if your spam or bounce rate remains high, your email service provider may pause or terminate your account to protect your and their reputation. So practically, what should email consent look like? Let's look at 5 recommendations. First of all, make sure you ask for it separately. In other words, each individual ask should be its own checkbox. Secondly, make sure you keep the checkbox unchecked by default and optional. Third, make the wording clear and specific. In other words, each individual item should have its own clear statement. Again, the user should know exactly what they're opting into with each checkmark. Fourth, place the consent outside of your terms of service. Fifth, include a one-click unsubscribe link in every marketing email. In fact, Outlook, Gmail, and Yahoo all require this for bulk senders. So yes, I want to receive the monthly newsletter is different than send me marketing promotional materials. Your users should always have a very clear sense of each type of email you'll be sending them. Following these best practices is best for everyone, your recipients, your deliverability, and the email ecosystem as a whole. When you start with clear consent, your emails are the ones that people are excited to receive. Well, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Happy sending.